All right, we're back. We're going to do a little trigonometry test review. And so we're going to kind of go over the paper review I handed out to you Friday. If not, it's on the Google Class room. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go through this test. It would be best if you would try this on your own and then come back here so I can go through the problems. Also, it would be best if you just pause once you kind of realize what's going on with the problems to see if you can do it by yourself. We are going to do one review on paper, like we're used to. We're going to do one review digitally. And Thursday and Friday, well, Thursday you're going to get a test digitally, and Friday is kind of a make-up day to make sure you get all your work done. And if you're not done with your test, you can finish your test on that day. So that's basically what's going on this week. And then we'll just see about the Monday after Thanksgiving break, what we're doing. Alrighty then. Let's go ahead and get started. If I can find the button to start. There it is. There's the start button. So this is what the worksheet should look like. It is attached to Google Classroom, but I already gave it to you on Friday so you could have it. Alright. So remember, this is right triangles and the trigonometry ratios. And so we're going to actually just start out these first problems just with this formula right here. Okay, and so remember, A and B are legs, C is the hypotenuse. And so if you just look at these, that would be A, that would be B, and that would be C, the hypotenuse. Okay. That would be A, B, C, the hypotenuse, and this would be A, B, C, the hypotenuse. Okay, we'll just do one real quick. So this would be 6 squared plus 14 squared equals C squared. And I'm going to do it longhand, even though you don't have to. Just in case you need to. And remember, the last little step here is this. And so we will go ahead and do the square root of 232. And if I can do that. So there it is. So C would be, or X in this case, I guess it's X, would be 2 radical 58. Okay, let's go ahead and do 3 down here. Just because it's a little different. The setup on this one would be, we could do 11 squared plus x squared equals 14 squared. So that's 121 plus x squared equals 196. Subtract 121. Let's go over here. And we get what? 75. Okay. And so we put that little 75, and this is x squared equals 75. So we just, and so this is going to be 5 radical 3. And yes, it has to be in this form. The computer will probably tell you which form it's in. If I need to do a video for instructions on how to take the test, I will. And so let's move on. Okay, we need the formulas for this next part. And yeah, I guess this is going to end up being an open notes, open review test because, well, no one's going to stop you. So I'm just going to assume that you have all this in front of you. So let's write down our formulas for these. C squared equals A squared plus B squared. That's a right. C squared is greater than a squared plus b squared. That is obtuse. And c squared is less than a squared plus b squared. That is acute. All right, don't really have room for those two, but I do have room for this one. So it's supposed to go in order. A is smallest, B is medium, C is biggest. And so if you don't know which one is the biggest, just go ahead and put 21 in like this, and then hit this toggle button right here. And then that will give you, it's basically 4.5, 4.6, so it is definitely the smallest. All right, so I'm going to put this in this formula. Biggest. That was a fail. Biggest equals 21 squared plus 10 squared. That's 121. This is 21. This is 100. So I guess 121 equals 121. So that would make this a right triangle. Okay. Not bad. Okay. This is where it gets a little harder. Find the area of each triangle. Well, of course, we know the area. Let's put the area over here. Equals 1/2 base times height. Of course, we got to have a height. From an earlier chapter, we know on this one that we can just go like this. Okay. And we can call that a right angle. And we know that this is going to bisect both the angle and the segment, so this is going to equal 4. So we can actually use trig if we want to, but I want to show you how to do it without trig, just because this section is supposed to be Pythagorean theorem, but it doesn't have to be. It's any way you want to do it, really. So let's go ahead and find, well, we need to find h, because that's what we need. We have the base, which is 8, for our little formula here. We just need to find this h. So we'll just use Pythagorean theorem. So basically this is going to be A, B, C, because that is the hypotenuse. So we go 4 squared plus h squared equals 8 squared. 16 plus h squared equals 64. Minus 16 minus 16, h squared equals, well, that would be 8. 48. Square root, square root. That is lies. That is 52. 52. I was like, that is not right. 52. Always check your work. Don't lie. All right, and so we're going to do square root of that. Yeah, I was right the first time. So I did not lie. All right, I need to put this in the calculator here to figure out what that square root is. Okay, I thought I did it right. Hit a wrong button. So this is going to end up being h is crooked, but see, I can fix the camera. There we go. H is 4 radical 3. Okay, just leave it that way. Your calculator does fine with it. So now, when we put this in the calculator, I'm going to go ahead and cover this up, because we got 4 radical 3. So that is 4 radical 3. So now when you put this in the calculator for area, so you just do area, equals 1/2 4 radical 3. Well, let's do base. Base times height. All right, so we're just going to put that in the calculator. And usually what I do is, instead of doing 1/2, I'm going to go ahead and just do 8 times 4 radical 3 divided by 2. Same thing. So I'm going to do 8 times 4 radical 3. Enter, make sure that's right. Okay, great. And then we're going to divide by 2. So I get 16 radical 3 as the answer. That's probably not the answer I want. It says to find the area of each triangle, round the intermediate values to the nearest tenth. Well, I didn't do that. Use the rounded values to calculate the next value. Round your final answer to the nearest tenth. Well, they wanted me to round this, so I might get it wrong now. But it'll be okay, so it should end up being 27.7. That's more exact, but they wanted me to round this to the nearest tenth. So let me go back and do that to see what the difference is. So we can compare it side by side here to see why we get things differently if we don't follow the directions like I didn't. So 4 radical 3. Four radical 3 is going to be 6.9. So I'm going to put 6.9 instead, and we'll see what happens. And so we're just going to do that 8 times 6.9 divided by 2. And we're going to get 27.6. Okay, so that's the difference between it. This was exact. This uses intermediate rounded values. So this is actually going to be the correct answer. So just be careful about what it says. All right, moving on. These are our special right triangles. Okay, and so I'm going to do a little bit of these and kind of show you how to do these. So we're going to remember what our special right triangles are. You can't see anything, so we're going to move this so we can remember what they are. So in a 45-45, we got a leg, we got a leg, and we got a leg radical 2. Okay, so we need x and y. Well, this one's easy. Y is going to equal radical 6 over 6. X is going to equal, well, it's leg times radical 2. So I'm just going to put this in the calculator. And I am going to end up with, so I'll just show it to you. I won't do it the long way. Just make sure you put it in right. See, I'm going to mess it up already because of that. So make sure it's put in correctly. Radical 6 over 6, that would have been wrong, times radical 2. And so radical 3 over 3. So x would end up being radical 3 over 3. Just make sure you saw what I put in. All right, cool. All right, that one's not too bad. All right, let's do one more no, it's a test review, so let's do one more right over here. Let me get this centered up. That's the way. All right, remember this is leg, and this is going to be, 5 is going to equal leg radical 2. Which means we got to divide by radical 2, divide by radical 2. And it does say leave radicals in simplest form, so that's what I did over there. So 5 radical 2, we put that in the calculator, and we're going to get the leg is going to equal 5 radical 2 over 2. And that's going to be the answer for M and N. Moving on to 11. Let's get kind of centered up here. A little wobbly. All right, 11. Okay, I'm looking at this one. This is a 30, 60, 90. I know it's got a 30 here. So remember, this is the short side. This would be the medium side. No, that's the hypotenuse. Then the hypotenuse equals 2 times the short side. And this is the medium side. And the medium side is going to equal short times radical 3. So to set up that little formula here, you just do short radical 3 equals 3 radical 3. Divide by radical 3. And divide by radical 3. And we're going to get the short side equals just 3. So that means that V is going to equal 3, and U is going to equal, well, 2 times short side, so that's 2 times 3 is equal 6, and that would be 6. Okay. So we basically got that one done. Okay. Now we go to these harder ones, and I like to divide these harder ones into 2 separate triangles. Okay. 2 separate triangles. So if you just try to do it all on the page, you're going to get very, very confused. So you can use a separate sheet of paper. And I'm going to use these little blue sheets just because it is easier for me to move them on and off. And so I'm going to find my straight edge here that I lost, apparently, right before the video. And I'm just going to kind of line that up a little bit. And we're going to start with the first shape. That's close enough. And it is going to be a 60-30. 60-30, 90. 30-60, 90, probably the better way to say it. That's a 7. And I don't need all of the sides, so that's important to know. I do need, looking back in here, I'm going to need to find this side, and I'm going to call that side maybe H, because it's kind of the height. You could call it whatever. And I think that is all I need to find. And then ultimately the X. So let's see here. So 30 is the short side. So that's the short side. 60 is what I need. And so that is going to be the short side times radical 3. Well, that was easy. That's done. So I'm going to write that here. 7 radical 3. Now, let's go ahead and do the next triangle. And this one is a 45, 45, 90. Which makes this pretty easy. So that's 45, 45. I need this. And this is my leg is going to equal 7 radical 3. And this is my hypotenuse, which is leg, times radical 2. So my final answer is going to be X equals 7 radical 6. All right, so we're done with the Pythagorean theorem parts of this one. Okay, done with the Pythagorean theorem. Now we're moving on to trig, and we're going to start with something pretty easy. Okay, and there's a lot of see-through parts, so I'm going to change to my other test review, so I don't have to see it. We did all that, right? Easy now. Yeah, there we go. This is the right page. And this is going to be a little long because I'm going through more problems just in case you need them. So this one's easy. Find each trigonometry ratio to the nearest 10,000ths. Don't make this hard. Just remember all this is cosine 76. Yeah. So 2, 4, 1, 9. So this is 4 things. 0.2419. It's just pushing buttons. Okay. This one we got to do our ratio. So it says tangent of x. So I like to. This is my little starting place here. So then that would be opposite, adjacent, hypotenuse. Okay, I'm going to write this again. Hopefully it's on the screen. SOHCAHTOA. So tangent, that's going to be the TOA. And so we need opposite over adjacent. Opposite over adjacent. So we're going to do tangent, opposite over adjacent. And that goes in the calculator. What did I say? 32 over 24? And that's it, right? And we get 0.0232. Ah, nope. That's 7. Rounds that up. Okay. So that's that. Now let's move on to the bottom of this page here. It says find the angle measurements. Remember, I went over this. Sine, cosine, tangent. And all that is to find sides. Okay. Up here we were doing the ratio, and so that's how you do the ratio. But we use sine, cosine, and tangent to find sides. We use the inverse to find angles. So what you put this in the calculator is you don't put this, you put this. And you will find that angle to the nearest degree is what it says. On this particular thing, you just have to do whatever the directions say. So 0, nope, that would be wrong. So 0.7813, 38 degrees. Answer is 38 degrees. Okay. We're moving on. All right, we're going to move on here. Again, we're finding angles here. And so usually they'll have something different. So we can call this angle A or whatever, so we can find angle A. And so what we need to do here is we need to establish from this angle that we're trying to find, this is opposite. This is hypotenuse. This is adjacent. So we're going to use that SOHCAHTOA again to figure out what we want to do. We basically have this one here, and we have this number. So H and A is going to be cosine. So that's the CA. So when we do this, we are going to use the inverse cosine because I'm finding an angle, and that would be opposite. Sorry, this would be opposite adjacent over hypotenuse, and that is going to equal A. And we just put that in. And we get 67.9, so that's 68 degrees. Okay. I'll set up another one, but all these are going to be inverses. Again, we got a little angle here. This is opposite. This is adjacent. This is hypotenuse. Looks like we're going to use inverse cosine to do this one, right? Because we have adjacent and we have hypotenuse. All right, let's check out down here. Well, it looks like we're going to this one's cosine too. The way I did this test, it's pretty, Let's see what this one is. Well, apparently I did cosine on all these on this particular review. It didn't randomize it very well, did it? All right, find the missing side. It's kind of the same setup as before, but we don't use the inverse. So we're going to figure something out with 58 degrees. And this one's going to use cosine, so I'm going to skip to one that doesn't use cosine. Okay. This one, we actually can shortcut and use our special right triangles, but I'll do it with trig, just in case you don't remember that. So we're going to do, let's see, this is going to be opposite, and this is going to be hypotenuse. This is going to be adjacent. So, we got opposite over hypotenuse, that's sine, so we're going to use sine of 45 equals opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, and so we're just going to multiply both sides by 17. And so we're going to have x equals 17 times sine 45. And I want to round. That's exact, so I'll need to hit this button down here. And it rolled 12.0 nearest tenth, so it's 12.0. So I'll write 12.0. Okay, there's that one. Let's look at, I don't think I have a tangent one on this particular one. Here's a tangent one, actually. So let's do this tangent one here. Just make sure we know how to do it. So this is my angle over here. So that's opposite. That's not tangent. I thought it was tangent. We didn't have a tangent one. So let's do this one over here. Okay. So here we go. This will go ahead and be opposite. Hypotenuse. And this would be adjacent. Okay, opposite, hypotenuse. So this would be sine. So I'm going to set it up, sine 44. And that is going to equal opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, this is the one where we cross multiply. But we basically just switch places. Because, you know, when you do 1 times 14. So this is just kind of the shortcut. Then you just put that in the calculator. 44. Sine 44. 20.2. Rounded up. Okay. This brings us to the last bit of this. Okay, this is kind of that harder stuff. I need to follow directions this time so we get the right answer. Find the length of the side labeled x. Round intermediate values. That means we're always going to round to the nearest tenth. Use the rounded values to calculate the next value. Round your final answer to the nearest tenth. Piece of cake. All right, I like to break this up into pieces. Like all of the mazes we do this year, we are going to start with a number. So I'm going to start with my triangle with a number. Okay, that is a 90-degree angle. We got a 47 here, and we have a 6 here. All right, I need to find this right here. So I'm going to sign this with a Y. Okay, so from 47, this is going to be opposite. This is going to be hypotenuse. And this is going to be adjacent. So it looks like I have a adjacent and a hypotenuse. That is cosine. So this is going to be cosine 47 equals opposite, no, I mean, so it's adjacent over hypotenuse. So that's y over hypotenuse. Okay. So what we put in the calculator is we multiply both by 6 times 6 times 6. And so I'm going to get y equals 6 cosine 47. And we're finding a side, so we just use the regular cosine. And that'd be 4.1. And yes, the computer probably will be picky on rounding, so make sure you follow directions. So 4.1 on this triangle. Okay. So now I need to do the other triangle. Okay. Now, make sure I didn't switch problems. 4.1 here. Now I'm going to do the other triangle. Just draw that out. So that's x. This is 24. This is 4.1. Alright, so we have a brand new triangle, so we don't care about the first triangle. So this would be opposite. This would be hypotenuse. And this would be adjacent. We need the opposite and the hypotenuse, so that is also sine. And so sine 24 is going to equal 4.1 over x. And we're going to switch places, so we're going to get x equals sine. We're going to x equals sine. All right, those are switching places, and so we put that in the calculator. 4.1 sine 24. And we hit enter, and so we get 10.08, so that's 10.1. 10.1 is our answer. So we can move that and write 10.1, and yay. All right, what you're going to want to do with this is you're going to want to upload this, take a picture with your cell phone and just upload it to the Google School assignment when you're done with it, so I can look it over. And don't just upload this. I want to see this stuff, this good stuff. So if you have this on a separate sheet of paper, upload that, please. And until next time, I'll see you.